sometimes you just gotta have fun with it. Welcome to Brilliant Fools. My name is Adam Green. I have published a children's book. It's under the name Charlie Green, and it's called Have You Ever Washed a Dinosaur? This children's book has no moral of the story. It has no particular point to it. It's just a fun book. And I set out very specifically to do that, to just make a fun book. I had noticed several years ago that most of the children's books that I had seen, I have kids, and so I'm reading through children's books, and they all seem to have some sort of point, some sort of moral, some sort of do this, do that, except for maybe a few of the like Dr. Seuss books. Not much moral to those, but most children's books have a moral to the story, and that's fine. That's great. But I got kind of tired of it, and I thought, I just want to have fun with it. So I wrote a few different stories and then sat on them for a little while. And I met a guy who's an illustrator for a children's book through a friend, and I talked with him. He liked the book. We got together and he illustrated the book. And then I ended up publishing it that way. But during our conversation, while we were talking about it and kind of storyboarding the whole thing and identifying what we wanted it to do or how we wanted it to look, I told him, sometimes you just got to have fun with it. He asked me the inspiration behind the story. What is it? Where did it come from? It's kind of silly and, it's just kind of fun. I said, yeah, sometimes you just got to have fun. And then there's more to that story, that he came back and he told me later that actually had an effect on him. That little saying I said in passing had an effect on him, and it continues to have an effect on me now. And I thought, where did I get that from? Where did that come from? Just got to have fun with it. And I was wondering, is that actually a biblical thing or is it not? Because look, we've got to work. We've got to do work, and we've got to do work that does produce an income. You got to support your family. You got to do those things. But is it wrong to enjoy your work? First of all, I don't know many people who would say it is wrong, but is it wrong to only pursue those things that you enjoy and try to make money from them? I know a lot of people who would say, yes, that's wrong. Just actually, what was the quote that I had heard? It was, don't pursue your passion, but in whatever you do, take your passion with you. And it's a pretty good quote. I like it. I think it's a micro type thing. Don't pursue your passion, but in whatever you do, find to do, take your passion with you. And I like that. I do like that. But then I found in the book of Ecclesiastes, of all places, that this idea of enjoying our work is emphasized. And this book gets a lot of flack a lot of times because it starts off with vanity of vanities. All is vanity. We work all of our lives, then we die. We don't take any of it with us. It goes to someone that wastes all of it, everything that we worked for. It says that the sun rises on the good and the evil. The rain falls on the wicked man and the good man just the same. So what use is any of it? All of it, what use is any of it? And that's the rap that Ecclesiastes gets a lot of times. However, let me read you a few verses where I think that this idea of being happy and having fun comes in. Ecclesiastes 2:24, there's nothing better for a person than that he should eat and drink and find enjoyment in his toil. This also I saw is from the hand of God. Ecclesiastes 3:12 through 13. I perceived that there is nothing better for them than to be joyful and to do good as long as they live. Also that everyone should eat and drink and take pleasure in all his toil. This is God's gift to man. Ecclesiastes 5:18, behold, what I have seen to be good and fitting is to eat and drink and find enjoyment and all the toil with which one toils under the sun, the few days of his life that God has given him, for this is his lot. Ecclesiastes 8:15, and I commend joy, for man has nothing better under the sun but to eat and drink and be joyful, for this will go with him in his toil through the days of his life that God has given him under the sun. Ecclesiastes 11:9, rejoice, O young man, in your youth, and let your heart cheer you in the days of your youth. Walk in the ways of your heart and the sight of your eyes. And then he does give this, but know that for all these things God will bring you into judgment. But do you see this theme that's repeated over and over and over again by the wisest man on earth? And that is, find joy in what you're doing. Not just find joy, but truly enjoy what you're doing. Find enjoyment in all the toil with which you toil. Whatever that may be, find enjoyment in it. So there's that idea that is to find joy in whatever work you're doing. Take pleasure in the toil that you're doing, but also let your heart cheer you. Walk in the ways of your heart. And then this is the warning behind that, because we can get into that mindset of, oh, I've just got to do whatever I enjoy doing and I can't do anything else. Only what I enjoy doing is what I'm going to do. I can't do anything else. Now, there are points, especially if you own and run a business, there are points where you need to do the things you enjoy doing, because those are the things that are bringing the most value to the company as well. And someone else can take the other stuff off of your plate. So you need to spend time in those things you naturally enjoy doing. But even if it's those things you don't like, find enjoyment in those things too. Somehow, some way, find enjoyment in those things. Otherwise, we're just going to go through life miserable. And that is not what God has for us. And I put that to you with another passage. Okay, this comes from Galatians. Because this element here of knowing that God is going to bring us into judgment for the things that we do, and that is, if we go too far with it, have no self-control, correct? How do we do joy and self-control at the same time? How do we pursue both of those things? This is where I think the gospel makes it so much easier for us than we realize. What Christ accomplished on the cross, the fact that he died and reconciled us to God because he paid that penalty for us, that he rose again, not just rose again, but rose again and ascended into heaven, and now the Holy Spirit lives within us. Christ is in us. We are in God. And we can walk in that. And we can walk by the Spirit. Because Galatians 2:23 or Galatians 5:22 and 23 says, but the fruit of the Spirit is what? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such things there is no law. Joy and self-control are fruits of the Spirit. That's fruits of the Spirit. When we're walking in the Spirit, and I'm not talking about some mystical, we have to have certain visions and dreams and experiences. I'm talking about understanding what we know to be true in the Word of God, and our thinking being changed, our hearts, our very spirits in line with his. When we're walking in the Spirit, not in the flesh, not in my own logic and reasoning, but his, these are the fruits that come out. Love comes out, joy comes out, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And I don't have to worry about it. And I can just find the enjoyment in the things that I'm doing when I'm walking with Christ. That's a wonderful thing to me. That to me is very freeing. And let me tell you what that can produce, because this is what happened. This is what happened with the illustrator that I worked with. I was doing a book read, and he came to me and he said, Adam, I want to mention something to you. He said, you said, and I didn't even remember this. He brought it back to my mind. He said, you said something when we were talking, when we were storyboarding. You said, sometimes you just got to have fun with it. He said, I realized that I had lost that fun. I had lost the joy of illustrating. This is what he does for a living. And isn't that so easy to do? Isn't that so easy to just get super serious about stuff that we shouldn't be serious about? He said, I lost the joy in it. It just became a job, and I was getting ready to kind of hang it up and saying, I don't know if I need to do this or not. And then there was a conference that came up. He debated about whether to go to it or not. And then he was like, you know what? I'm going to go. I'm just going to go ahead and go to this conference. And I am just going to have fun with it. I'm going to enjoy it, because what he had done for so long was he went to network. He went to see people. He went to try to build this relationship, that relationship. It was work. It was toil, but not enjoyment. So he said, I'm just going to go and have fun with it. He went. He started having fun. He's striking up conversations just for the sake of having conversations. He's not handing out business cards. He's not trying to get this thing or that thing or produce any of that. And what happened was someone that he had talked to had a connection he didn't even know about. They didn't talk about it, but they had a connection to another person that ended up, long story short, all these connections came together, and he ended up getting a really big contract out of the deal and doing really well. He said, just because I went and had fun and I stopped trying so hard. Isn't it ironic? Because I can tell you, for me, I feel so often like I am just trying so hard. Why aren't things working out? And you can. In fact, I was reminded of this recently at church. You can change your actions and see some improvement in your life. But if you want true transformation, and this is where it is, you're walking by the Spirit. You're letting the Word grow in you and produce the fruit, not by your own actions, not by your efforts, but by the effort that Christ has already accomplished on the cross for us. And we'll have joy and self-control. I like it, and I hope you find it helpful too. Until next time, thanks.